Hey everyone, welcome back. And this is my review of World Trigger episode 9, I want to say. So, I'm going to be honest with you here. This was a really slow episode of World Trigger. Okay, like, very little actually happened here, and we had so many flashbacks that didn't feel like they needed to be here. Alright? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you now, we really did. Like, just so many of them. And really the only actual story progression we had in this episode was, 1, learning about the black triggers, which is apparently what Kuga has. Which is apparently like a trigger, the strongest of the triggers apparently, which even A-ranks struggle to face against, which apparently copies the Treon energy of its own. What I got from that is like it copies the Treon energy of its owner and multiplies it or something, basically making them exponentially more powerful than any other border agents. That's what I got from that. Alright, so we learned about that. At the very end of the episode we learned that, well, Jean is probably going to be the one assigned to taking down Kuga, which is going to be really interesting, to say the least. Alright, and we got some pretty epic fight scenes. Not the most epic in the series so far, but still some pretty epic fight scenes. And that's really it, I think. Okay. So what I think about the revelation at the end, it'll be interesting. It really will. Because it's like, now is Jean really going to do that, or is, I wouldn't, actually, I don't know, what, do you really think that, that Kuga would just give up his own trigger? Because I don't think he would, so I think there would need to be some sort of a fight there, but maybe Jean might have some other ulterior motives here taking on this mission, who knows, but it's still going to be very interesting. Alright, another thing I didn't like was the animation. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again, you don't come into anything Toei related, especially World Trigger, expecting great animation. You just don't. But this animation has to be the worst in the series so far. I've lost count how many still frames or moving still frames that I found in this episode. It was horrendous, except for the little bit of fighting, epic fighting in this episode. And even then, animation wasn't even the best animation in fight scenes that we've seen in the series so far. Not even close. So, yeah, they really dropped the ball in terms of the animation, even in this episode, even more so than Toei Animation usually does in their works. So that was actually kind of disappointing as well. So overall, I thought this was a pretty decent episode of World Trigger. It wasn't anything outstanding, unfortunately. I did hear that they adapted one chapter of the manga into this series, or into this episode, which, okay, why? I'm sure they could have fit at least one more chapter in here, but, you know, I mean, that's probably where the filler of these flashbacks came from. You know what I mean? So tell me your thoughts about this episode in the comment section below. Kind of a short review, but there's not a whole lot to talk about in terms of this episode. Alright, if you get to see this week's episode of World Trigger, then I do definitely recommend you do, because it was entertaining and informative, and had a very intriguing ending, to say the least. I can't wait until next week's episode, because for the most part I am really enjoying this series so far. Alright, like I really am. So anyways, overall, hope you enjoyed this review, guys. See you after, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.